Captain Mike Davis looked at the screen inside his spaceship called the Freedom. He was seeing something that made him stop and stare. Hundreds of big shapes were floating in empty space far from any star. They were just sitting there in the dark. "What are those things?" asked Lieutenant Kate Brown. She was working at the computer that watched for other ships. Her hands moved fast on the buttons as she tried to get better pictures. "I count 240 ships," said Science Officer Dr. Jim White. He looked worried. "Boss, these ships are huge. Some of them are 20 times bigger than our ship." Mike had been flying around space for 5 years, looking for new things. But he had never seen anything like this before. The ships looked strange and smooth, not like the square metal ships that humans made. But the scary part was that they were completely dark. No lights, no power, nothing. "Are there people alive in there?" Mike asked. Kate shook her head. "I can barely see any power at all. If someone is alive, they don't have much time left." Dr. White suddenly got excited at his station. "Captain, wait. I'm getting a signal. It's very weak, but something is trying to talk to us." "Put it through our translator," Mike said. The translator was new. It was supposed to help them understand alien languages, but they had never actually used it before. First there was just noise and crackling sounds. Then slowly broken words started coming through the speakers. "Help us. Fleet is stuck. Dying. Zephyrian ships need..." Then the voice disappeared into static again. "Zephyrian," Mike said the strange words slowly. "Never heard of them. But they're asking for help." He looked around at his crew. There were only 50 humans on their small ship. "Kate, how much food and water do we have?" "Enough for 2 weeks if we're careful. Our life support can maybe handle 15 extra people for a few days." Mike made a choice that would change everything. "Turn toward the biggest ship. We're going to help them." The Freedom flew closer to the lead ship in the alien group. When they got near, Mike could see it was beautiful, but badly hurt. There were burn marks and holes in the side. A few emergency lights blinked weakly inside the clear parts of the ship. "Human ship," came a clearer voice as they got closer. "I am Commander Zexhai of the Zephyrian people. Our main engines broke when the Void Hunters attacked us. We have been floating here for 6 days. Our air and power systems are dying." Mike turned on his radio. "This is Captain Mike Davis of the human ship Freedom. We got your call for help. What can we do?" There was a long, quiet moment before the alien spoke again. "Human? We do not know your kind. Our fleet has 47,000 people. Your ship looks very small." Dr. White was already doing math on his computer. "Captain, this is crazy. Even if we could move all their people, we would need big cargo ships, hospitals, and life support for thousands of aliens. We can't do this." Mike looked at the screen showing all the alien ships. Dr. White was right. It was impossible. But 47,000 living beings were dying in cold space, and they had asked for help. The Freedom was just one small human ship with 50 people. The aliens had hundreds of giant ships but no power. Most captains would say sorry and fly away. But Mike was not most captains. "Commander Zexhai, we need to know how your people breathe and what they need to stay alive. Also, we need to see plans of your ships. We will find a way to help you." The alien commander's voice sounded surprised. "Captain Davis, your ship is tiny compared to our fleet. How do you plan to save 47,000 souls?" Mike looked at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting to see what he would say. These were good people who had signed up to explore space and help others. They were engineers, doctors, and scientists who solved problems every day. "Commander, we humans are pretty good at figuring things out as we go. We might not have the biggest ships or the best technology, but we don't give up easy. Send us your information, and we'll get started." Dr. White pulled Mike aside. "Captain, with respect, this is suicide. We don't know anything about their biology, their technology, or even if we can trust them. We could get ourselves killed trying to help." Mike nodded. "You're right, Jim. This could go very bad very fast. But look at those ships. Thousands of families are running out of air right now. If we were stuck out there, wouldn't we want someone to at least try?" Kate had been listening to more alien transmissions. "Captain, I'm picking up signals from other ships in their fleet. It sounds like their people are scared. Some ships have already lost power completely." Mike made his final decision. "We're going to help them. I don't know how yet, but we'll figure it out. Kate, send a message to any human ships in this area. Tell them we have first contact with aliens and we need help. Jim, start looking at their ship designs. I want to know how their systems work." As the Freedom moved closer to the alien fleet, Mike felt the weight of what they were trying to do. 47,000 lives depended on 50 humans in a small ship. The smart thing would be to call for help and wait for bigger ships to arrive. But the aliens might not have time to wait. Mike had always believed that when someone asks for help, you help them if you can. It didn't matter if they were human or alien, friend or stranger. Today, that belief would be tested like never before. The rescue of the Zephyrian fleet was about to begin, and it would show the galaxy something new about humans that no one expected. 2 hours later, the Freedom's main room had turned into a busy work center. Mike stood looking at pictures of the alien ships on a big screen, while his crew ran around fixing things and making plans. "Good news and bad news," said Dr. Lisa Green, the ship's doctor. "The Zephyrians breathe almost the same air as us. They need a little more oxygen and different air pressure, but I think we can fix that." Engineer Dave Wilson looked up from a mess of wires and machines he was connecting. "I built a power cable system. We can send electricity from our main power to their emergency systems, but only to the ships closest to us." Mike asked, "How many people can we keep alive that way?" "Maybe 3,000 people in 5 ships. That's if we push our power system to the limit and hope it doesn't break." The math was scary. 3,000 out of 47,000 people saved. "Captain Davis," came Commander Zexhi's voice through the radio. "We have sent you computer files about our ships, but I must tell you something bad. Our main engines cannot be fixed with what we have here. Even if you give us power, we cannot fly away from this place." Dr. White pulled up the alien ship information on his computer. "Captain, their engine technology is hundreds of years better than ours, but look at this problem." He pointed to parts of the alien ship pictures. "Their systems are too perfect. When one part breaks, everything else stops working too." "But our systems are different?" Mike asked. "Yes," Dave said. "Our stuff is simple and rough, but we can fix it with spare parts and crazy solutions when things break." An idea started growing in Mike's head. "Dave, what if we forget about their fancy engines?" "What do you mean? Their ships still have normal rocket engines, right? What if we could get them moving slowly toward the nearest planet with people?" Dave looked at the ship plans. "It would take many months to get anywhere useful, and they don't have enough air and food for that long. But what if we could give them more supplies? Make a chain of helper ships?" Dr. White understood first. "We call other human ships in this area. Make a supply line." "Exactly." Mike turned on the long-distance radio. "This is Captain Mike Davis calling all human ships. We have found aliens. For the first time, and 47,000 of them are about to die. Any ships near the outer space territories, please answer and come help us." For the next 6 hours, answers came from all over human space. Cargo ships, science ships, mining ships, and even some military patrol ships all said they were changing course to help. While Mike was calling for help, Dave and his team started doing something that had never been done before. They began connecting human machines to alien technology. They used portable power makers, emergency air systems, and even personal breathing masks to create a network that could keep the aliens alive. "This is crazy," said Chief Engineer Sarah Black as she welded a human air maker to an alien life support. "So, nothing we're doing should work?" But it did work. Slowly, ship by ship, the human crews managed to get life support working again in bigger parts of the alien fleet. They took apart their own equipment, shared their food, and worked day and night to keep the aliens alive. The work was dangerous and hard. Human engineers put on spacesuits and floated between ships carrying heavy equipment and tools. They worked in the cold darkness of space, connecting cables and air tubes between human and alien ships. "Be careful with that power line," Dave warned his team over the radio. If it touches the wrong part, it could blow up both ships. But the humans kept working. They learned how alien technology worked by touching it and testing it. When something didn't work, they tried a different way. When they didn't have the right tool, they made one from spare parts. Commander HFY watched everything with amazement. Captain Davis, our chance of living has gone from 12% to 60%. Your people's way of solving problems is very strange but effective. Mike smiled as he watched his crew work miracles with basic tools and determination. Commander, we humans don't always do things the smart way, but we don't give up easy. The first big success came when Dave's team got power working again on the alien command ship. Lights came on for the first time in days. The alien crew cheered in their strange language. Power system stable, reported the Zephyrian engineer. Life support at 40% capacity. This should not be possible with your primitive equipment. Primitive, maybe, Dave said with a grin. But it works. More human ships started arriving. The cargo ship Mountain brought food and water. The research ship Explorer brought medical supplies. The mining ship Digger brought tools and spare parts. Each new ship brought more people to help and more supplies to share. Soon there were 12 human ships working together to save the alien fleet. Captain Lisa Carter of the Mountain ship talked to Mike over the radio. This is the craziest rescue I've ever seen, but I'm proud to be part of it. The rescue was growing, bigger every hour, but Mike knew they still had a long way to go to save everyone. After 1 week of non-stop work, 20 human ships had come to help save the alien fleet. The empty space around the Zephyrian ships was now full of activity. Human engineers, doctors, and workers were everywhere, working side by side with the aliens to fix their problems. Dr. Lisa Green had set up medical stations on several alien ships. She was treating everything from space sickness to alien diseases that human doctors had never seen before. Their bodies are surprisingly similar to ours, she told Mike during one of their daily meetings. Some of our human medicines work on them if we change the dose a little. We're learning alien medicine as we go. The biggest discovery came from someone nobody expected. Mechanic Tony Lee was working inside one of the broken alien ships when he found something amazing. Captain, you need to come see this right now. Tony's voice came through the radio from inside the alien ship. I think I know why their main engine stopped working. Mike put on his spacesuit and went over to the alien ship. He found Tony standing in what looked like the engine room. The space was huge, filled with crystal structures that hummed with barely controlled energy. Look at this, Tony said, pointing to a bunch of damaged crystals. These quantum things are incredibly smart, but they're designed to work in perfect harmony. When the bad guys hit them, it messed up the entire system. Can we fix it? Not their way, but maybe our way. Tony smiled big. What if we don't try to make it perfect again? What if we make it work even though it's broken? Dr. White, who had come with them, looked worried. Controlled chaos in a quantum engine system? That sounds like it would explode. That's the thing, Tony said excitedly. Human technology isn't perfect. We build things to work even when they're broken. Our computers fix their own errors. Our engines have backup systems. We expect things to break and we plan for it. Over the next few days, Tony worked with alien engineers to create what they started calling the Human Fix Protocol. Instead of trying to make the quantum crystals work perfectly again, they made them work with controlled randomness that let the engines function even with damaged parts. Commander HFY watched the work with fascination. Your people seem to accept uncertainty instead of trying to eliminate it. This way of thinking goes against everything we know about quantum science. Maybe that's why it works, Mike replied. The first test of the fixed quantum engine was done on a smaller alien scout ship. The crystal chambers flickered with crazy energy patterns that would have scared the original builders. But the ship moved. Quantum movement successful, reported the alien pilot. The engine works, but only at 40% power. 40% of a quantum engine is still faster than anything we humans have, Dr. White said. Within 2 weeks, human engineers had brought basic quantum power back to more than half the alien fleet. The fixes were ugly by alien standards, but they worked by human standards. But the real innovation came in how to control the fleet. The aliens had used a centralized command system that failed when their main ship was damaged. The humans created a network approach that let any ship control the fleet if others were broken. Backup systems and command structure, explained Communications Officer Ryan Smith. If one control point fails, 10 others can take over instantly. Commander HFY was taking detailed notes. Your species seems to plan for failure at every level. We have to, Mike replied. We're still learning how everything works. The rescue operation had become something amazing to watch. Human ships darted between the massive alien vessels like busy bees. Cargo containers full of food, water, and supplies moved constantly between ships. Medical teams rushed to help sick aliens. Engineers worked around the clock to fix broken systems. But the most impressive thing was how the humans solved problems. When they couldn't connect two different types of cables, they made adapters from spare parts. When alien computers wouldn't talk to human computers, they built translation devices. When life support systems were too different to connect directly, they created hybrid systems that worked for both species. Your people are natural problem solvers, Commander HFY told Mike during one of their planning meetings. Every time we say something is impossible, your teams find a way to make it work. Mike laughed. We're too stubborn to accept that things can't be done. The breakthrough that changed everything came from an unexpected source. Engineer Sarah Black was working on connecting the navigation systems when she noticed something strange. Captain, the alien ships are fighting each other, she reported. Fighting? Mike asked, concerned. No, not fighting like war. Their navigation computers are arguing about which way to go. Each ship wants to be the leader, but they can't agree on who should make decisions. Dr. White looked at the problem. Their system needs one perfect leader to make all decisions, but their leadership is too damaged to work properly. So we give them multiple leaders, Mike said. Like we do. The humans taught the aliens about shared leadership. Instead of one ship making all decisions, they set up a system where different ships could lead depending on the situation. If they were flying through space, the best pilot would lead. If they were fixing engines, the best engineer would lead. If they were treating sick people, the best doctor would lead. This is revolutionary, Commander HFY said as he watched the new system work. Leadership changes based on need rather than rank. It's just common sense to us, Mike replied. By the end of the third week, the alien fleet was ready to move again. They had power, life support, working engines, and a new way to make decisions. The ships formed up in traveling formation, with human ships scattered throughout to help if anything went wrong. But more importantly, the aliens had learned something new about how to solve problems. They had learned that sometimes the best solution wasn't the most perfect one, but the one that worked even when things went wrong. As the fleet prepared to leave, Mike realized that this rescue had changed both humans and aliens forever. Humans had learned they could do impossible things when they worked together. The aliens had learned that there was more than one way to be smart. The journey home was about to begin, but the real adventure was just starting. 3 weeks after first meeting the aliens, the Zephyrian fleet was flying through space again. Their ships moved together toward the nearest alien home base, with human ships flying alongside them as protectors. News about the rescue had spread throughout Zephyrian space and was starting to reach other alien civilizations across the galaxy. Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Republic arrived with a huge battle fleet to escort the rescued ships home. His ship, the Eternal Light, was so big it made even the largest rescued ships look small. Captain Davis, the Admiral's deep voice came through the communication system. I have come personally to thank you and your people for this incredible act of help. Mike found himself on board the Eternal Light, standing in a massive room, surrounded by Zephyrian officials. The aliens were tall, graceful beings with smooth features and natural lights under their skin that changed colors with their emotions. What you have done should have been impossible, Admiral Kethvar continued. Our best engineers could not fix those quantum engines. Our most advanced life support systems could not keep 47,000 people alive with your limited resources. We just did what needed to be done, Mike replied. That is exactly what makes it so remarkable. The Admiral's skin lights shifted to what Mike had learned meant deep respect. We have contacted the Galactic Council. Representatives from 17 different alien species are traveling here to study what you have accomplished. Over the next few days, ships from all over the galaxy arrived. The Crystal People, the Hive Mind Group, the Ancient Builders, and dozens of other species sent their smartest scientists and engineers to examine the human rescue operation. Dr. Yithgor, of the Ancient Builders, a species that had mastered technology for thousands of years, studied Dave's jerry-rigged power systems with obvious confusion. These connections break 12 different rules of safe energy transfer, the ancient being observed. They should have exploded catastrophically. They did explode a few times, Dave admitted. That's why we added the blast shields and emergency switches. You planned for the explosions? We planned for everything we could think of going wrong. The idea that humans routinely designed systems expecting failure was shocking to species that had spent centuries making their technology perfect to eliminate all possible problems. Dr. Zithara of the Hive Mind Group was equally puzzled by human decision-making. Your species made thousands of individual decisions without central coordination. This should have led to chaos and inefficiency. Sometimes it did, Mike admitted. But it also meant that when one approach didn't work, someone else was already trying something different. The galactic representatives put together their findings into what became known as the Human Paradox Report. The document explained how a technologically inferior species had achieved what advanced civilizations considered impossible through unconventional thinking and adaptive problem-solving. High Chancellor Morden of the Galactic Council summarized the findings. The humans succeeded not despite their technological limitations, but because of their approach to those limitations. Where we seek perfection, they embrace imperfection. Where we eliminate variables, they plan for uncertainty. Where we specialize, they adapt. The rescue became a turning point in galactic civilization. Advanced species began adding human chaos protocols into their designs. The concept of planning for failure became a new field of study. Redundancy and adaptability were no longer seen as signs of primitive technology, but as sophisticated design philosophy. But the real shock came when other alien species started having their own emergencies and calling for human help. Within 6 months, Mike received 3 more distress calls from different alien civilizations who had heard about the Zephyrian rescue. Captain Davis, came a transmission from the Crystalline Collective. Our mining operation has collapsed and our people are trapped. Traditional rescue methods have failed. We request human assistance. Mike looked at his crew and smiled. Looks like we're becoming the galaxy's emergency response team. The pattern was becoming clear across the galaxy. When the impossible needed to be accomplished, when the perfect solution didn't exist, when advanced civilizations reached the limits of their capabilities, they called the humans. 6 months after the original rescue, Mike found himself back, aboard the Freedom, but now as part of a joint human-alien exploration fleet. The galaxy was a very different place than when they had first encountered those dark ships in the void. Commander Zexhai, now serving as liaison between the Zephyrian Republic and humanity, stood beside him on the bridge. Captain, we are detecting an unknown signal from the edge of our galaxy. It appears to be a distress call from a species we have never encountered. Mike smiled and turned on the ship's communication system. This is Captain Mike Davis. We received your distress signal. How can we help? The response came in a language none of them had heard before, but the universal translator was getting better at its job. We are the nomad fleet of the Wanderer. People. Our ships are dying and our children are sick. We have heard stories of humans who perform miracles. Please help us. Mike looked around at his mixed crew of humans and aliens working together on the bridge. The Freedom was now twice as big as before, upgraded with alien technology but still maintaining its human adaptability. Set course for their location, Mike ordered. Looks like we have another rescue to perform. As they flew toward the new emergency, Mike reflected on how much had changed. The human approach to problems had spread throughout the galaxy. Alien species were learning to plan for failure, to embrace imperfection, and to adapt when things went wrong. The Galactic Council had even established a new department called Applied Human Problem Solving that studied human methods and taught them to other species. Universities across the galaxy now offered courses in adaptive engineering and controlled chaos theory. But perhaps the most important change was in how different species worked together. The old galaxy had been divided by technological superiority and perfect specialization. The new galaxy was united by shared problem-solving and mutual aid. "Captain," Commander Zexhai said as they approached the new crisis, "your species has changed how we all think about what is possible." Mike watched the view screen as another fleet of distressed alien ships came into view. "Commander, I think we're just getting started." The rescue of the Zephyrian Armada had shown the galaxy that there was more than one way to reach the stars. Humanity's way wasn't the most elegant or efficient, but it was uniquely effective. And in a galaxy full of perfect solutions, sometimes what was needed was a perfectly imperfect approach that simply refused to give up. The age of human innovation had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.